Hello and welcome to Detroiters Think Big, a small business podcast powered by Rocket Mortgage. My guest today is Robert Courtney, owner and founder, Robert Courtney and Associates, and Unique Collection. Robert, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Good to finally catch up with you again. It's been way too long.
It has been way too long, and I'm sure we both have had a lot going on, and I'm sure you probably have a lot more going on actually, because you stay busy.
Yeah, it's kind of in my DNA. If I even wanted to stop, I probably couldn't.
For sure. So let's jump right into it. You're the founder of multiple companies. I mean, you really are kind of an entrepreneur by trade, by birth, whatever you want to call it. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your background, and some of the companies that you own.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my entrepreneurial journey around 2003, 2004. Got laid off from a job. Back was against the wall, and really just was in a space where I didn't ever want to be put against the wall again. And that meant that I had to do it for myself. So that process started by me going out looking for, the skill that I felt came most naturally to me and something that I felt like I could do right away to make money. So I actually started off as a barber. And I went to work for a lady who was a friend of a friend, and she gave me an opportunity. And when I tasted the first glimpse of entrepreneurship, it awakened something inside of me. And back then, like, I didn't really even know I was an entrepreneur or that was a thing. But just the ability and the flexibility to be able to go generate revenue for myself, choose when I start and when I finish, it was just, it was kind of a match for me. And so that started in 2004, went on to actually purchase that shop in 2007 because that owner wanted to do something different, and the opportunity presented itself. And from there, I kind of hit the ceiling with that barbershop, maxed out the chairs, and I learned through that probably 2-year, 3-year run of owning the barbershop that I didn't want to own any more barbershops. I wanted to be an owner, but I didn't want to be the owner of a barbershop, another barbershop. So decided to create a lifestyle brand from that barbershop, which is the company you mentioned, Unique Collection. The name of the barbershop was Unique Barbershop. So we took that and we built a lifestyle brand that included events, it included clothing and apparel, and then obviously the barbershop was kind of like the staple, and it was the foundation of how everything started. And I've been doing the Unique Collection clothing line. It's still going strong. And then from the Unique Collection line, I started a marketing company because of all the things we learned through our experiences of building 2 brands from scratch, which a lot had to do with social media and understanding the digital space. And so from there, the marketing company was born, and it's almost 20 years later, 16 years later to be exact, and here I am still, enjoying that same feeling that I had when I first did the first haircut.
Awesome. It's an amazing story, from barbershop to conglomerate of sorts. And you're based in Detroit. We should add, of course.
I am. I'm actually in Detroit right now at Bamboo.
Perfect. So what are some of your, I mean, you said, you work through multiple verticals, multiple companies. What are your focuses now? What are your priorities in terms of, where your effort, where your investment and time is lying right now? And then talk a little bit, of course, how that relates to COVID and the impact there.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, my personal focus is building and scaling my agency, my marketing and branding agency. In 2017, me and my longtime partner actually helped me start the Unique Collection clothing line. We decided that he would put his focus in growing the Unique Collection, and then I would put my focus in growing the marketing side of things. So ever since 2017, 2018, I've been on a mission to basically dominate the social media space as far as the Detroit market goes. And I say that from jokingly, but I'm not, your typical marketing guy. Like I don't have a marketing background. I didn't go to school for marketing. I don't really use typical marketing strategies when it comes to building and growing businesses. However, the businesses that bring us on or hire us, actually, they appreciate the way we do things, and we're more connected to now, like the way consumers move now and the way they psychologically process why they want to do business with a company. And that's really my focus has been, I would say, ever since I was a barber, my focus has been more on understanding people and what people want, what they react to, what makes them decide to spend their money or choose a place to sit down and eat, or choose a particular piece of clothing. It's always been about understanding people. So if I had to say anything, my biggest focus right now is scaling my business and then understanding people more so that I can help my clients be as successful as they possibly can.
Sure. Is there a certain client you work with, a certain type of profile, or will you take on anybody who you kind of see that potential in?
Yeah, there's everybody always asks, what vertical do we work in? What industry do we work in? My character, like my entire being, is about not doing the same thing. So I try to diversify our portfolio as much as possible. Right now, we work in hospitality, we work in automotive, we work in education, we work in fashion, we work in real estate. We are very diverse and across the board when it comes to the type of clients and the people that we work with. But for me, it's just about new experiences. And the more diversified I am, I feel it gives me an understanding of different types of people, different types of industry, which I think in the bigger scheme of things just makes me more effective at what I do.
Sure. Is there a certain project or certain client you worked on recently that's really cool that you can talk about? Or
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got so many cool clients, but probably one of the more interesting scenarios has been a new restaurant in the Midtown area called Possibility. And the reason that one was really interesting was because typically a, a client will hire us to handle their social media. Typically, clients struggle with understanding how to transition from doing your traditional forms of advertisement like billboards and radio and commercial. How do I take and do the same thing on social media? And there's a different style of communication that should be applied when you're trying to gain attention and promote on social versus how you would do it, with those traditional mediums. So with this particular client, they hired us to do the entire marketing strategy. So from direct mail to PR with radio and TV to lead gen through Google Ad to landing pages to ultimately social media, which is what we normally get hired for, we cover everything. So it was really cool starting that business or starting that marketing strategy from scratch, laying out the key elements that we feel would make it successful, and then checking all the boxes and executing that and having a tremendously successful launch just last week. So that was a really cool experience. And if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. Possibility in Midtown.
yeah, I'll give another endorsement for that, Rob. I have to say, Possibility is in my neighborhood,
Is that right?
and I haven't been there yet, but I can't wait to check it out because I've seen a bunch of stuff on it. So yeah,
Well, to a free meal so you can come on here and give some feedback next interview.
for sure. Let's make sure people know where that's at. It's Possibility. It's on. Is it Cass and Willis over there?
Yep, it's on Willis Street, 418, I believe, and right next door to Avalon Bakery.
Okay, yeah, a lot of people should know where Avalon is at in Midtown on Willis Street, and yeah, Possibility is basically just right next door. So very cool.
Yep.
Looking forward to check that out. One of the reasons I know about that, as I mentioned, is because you are so active on social media, and you are really keen at leveraging social media. And so talk to me a little bit about that element, specifically the social media element. And you've been at this a while, like you said, 2003, and social media was a totally different thing back then. And so talk about some of the trends you're seeing recently in terms of the types of platforms or the types of engagement that you think has really started to grow or started to catch on in social media wise.
Yeah, there's so many things, but the thing that stands out is really just getting people to understand that people respond to people more than they respond to brands and businesses per se. So what I've tried to do is use my trust and credibility that I've been able to, gain over the last 7, 8, 9 years, and insert that strategically into the brands where it makes sense. Right now we manage over 25 brands in terms of running their marketing or handling their social media, but you wouldn't necessarily see me proactively talking about every single brand because sometimes it's not an authentic match. If it authentically fits into the things that I personally do, then I'll sprinkle it in. Sometimes clients will hire us specifically for an additional push in terms of being a brand ambassador or influencer, or being somebody that have a professional network or a network of people that might go to that particular establishment. And sometimes that's factored into the actual campaign itself. But most of the time it's about strategically identifying what it is that, like I said earlier, drives people's actions and make them want to connect to that particular brand. And most of the time that's people. And I think that's the thing that that's the difference between the brands that are really successful. They found the way to emotionally connect with their audience versus the ones that aren't, because they're usually trying to communicate how people did, when radio and TV was the tool that drove new business.
Sure. So how did we touched on it a little bit, but I want to talk first kind of in a broad sense from you, and then we can get into some of the specific elements of your work. But more broadly, how did COVID, the pandemic, impact what your work, what you do, and what has that been like the last 6, 7 months?
Yeah, so I'm in a strange position because I know, if you're in the hospitality industry or if you're in the event industry, you really took a hit from COVID because of the fact that COVID prevented people from gathering in spaces and the amount of people that can gather and things like that. For me, it was actually a boom in business because so many people needed to pivot and they needed to figure out how to strategically use the internet, their social media channels, live broadcasting. How do I now put myself in a position to still generate revenue only using my laptop or my phone, and working virtually? And so because we've made a mark in this space, especially in the Detroit area. A lot of our clients who we had leaned on us to come up with creative solutions for helping them navigate that process. And then clients who we've yelled at and screamed at about, switching over and doing things virtually and having other options, they now needed to quickly integrate some of those things into their daily activities. And then, immediately following the, world and more specifically, Michigan being able to open up to some degree, now these brands needed to kind of rebrand themselves and apply new ways to speak to their old clientele or whatever. So and to reach new clientele. So I'm busier now than I've ever been, to be honest with you. I'm probably having my second, if not best, fourth quarter ever, and I'm super excited about helping these companies develop new strategies and being able to grow their businesses.
Very cool. So on that, just a kind of a real quick hit. So as individuals are trying to figure out, what's open, what's closed, what may be opening back up, your opinion. I know, maybe there's no real answer, but you are an expert in social media. What is the best way to communicate to customers or for potential customers to find out if a place is open? Do you find that Facebook is what people keep most updated? Is it their own website? And how would I best find out if a place is open? And if I'm a business, how do I best communicate that I'm open?
Honestly, I think the two places that are getting the most traction that I'm personally seeing is Facebook for sure, and then Google My Business. So some people don't really look at Google My Business as a social media platform, but Google is doing so many things to make it kind of behave as a place where you can interact and get information, leave reviews, comment on pictures. The business owner has the ability to leave pictures and leave videos, and you can almost treat it as a website. So if someone types in your business, every piece of information that you uploaded to your Google My Business destination will now be front and center, whether it's a menu, whether it's times of operation, coupons, offers, anything that you have that a customer would want, you can include it in Google My Business and give yourself a better chance at visibility.
Very good to know. Good tip. So yeah, let's get into that a little bit. We're wrapping up here, and so I want to talk to you though from kind of your other hat that you wear as part of your business is you consult companies and help them build their brands, and you are a resource for growing a business. And so just talk to me a little bit about more on the granular level how you work with a business. Kind of do you sit them down, go through strategies? If let's say if I'm interested in working with Robert Courtney, how would you kind of sit me down initially and talk to me about growing my business?
Yeah, so usually it's an initial consultation, and in that consultation, the goal is to figure out what it is that that company or that person is looking to do. Are you trying to grow a bigger audience? Are you trying to create more brand awareness? Are you trying to generate leads? What is it that you want to accomplish by hiring me or my team? And once we establish that, then we kind of decide what's going to be the best course of action. But across the board, there's an acronym that we apply to just about everyone, and the acronym is ATTACK. It's audience, trust, attention, content, and consistency. So we feel like all brands, be it a business or a person, needs to hit on those five things in order to have a successful marketing campaign, and to be able to potentially grow your business. So usually you want us to help you accomplish one of those five things, and depending on what that is, that's kind of how we start to plan. Our strength is in social media, and so I'll make that very clear. If you're looking for somebody to help you with brand awareness, which to us, social media is a brand awareness tool. It's very much a branding tool versus a selling tool. So if you're looking for someone to create more brand awareness for you, and that coming in, then we are normally the company that people will use to help that. And I feel like if you do a great job of branding yourself or branding your company, then the sales naturally kind of follow that. So the referrals and the recommendations for people to use you.
Sure, that makes sense. And you obviously have a track record to stand on with that. You've shown that that method works. So
it is literally my only strategy. Like my only strategy is networking, building relationships, and letting people know what I do, and then providing information to support what I say I do. And I haven't had to do any type of sales campaigns or lead gen. All of my business, I would say 97% of my business has been referral based for the last 3 years.
So getting to that, let's count this as a referral because we want to help with that too, and as much kind of networking and connecting as we can. So let's specifically, how can people get in touch with you? How can people connect with you and kind of start the conversation on working with you?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I'm on every platform. My most active platform is probably Instagram. You can find me there, Robert Courtney Collins. And then any other platforms, you can search Robert Courtney Collins on LinkedIn, on Twitter. And then our website is robertcourtneyandassociates.com. You can obviously find us there, fill out a contact form, find, packages and things like that. One thing I might mention, our services are monthly. So another thing that I'm big on is not putting people in long-term contracts like most PR companies or social media agencies do, or marketing agencies in general. I want to work with people that want to work with me, and I feel like after 30 days, if you don't feel like we're bringing value, you have every right to walk away. So it's something that I make sure that we're very transparent with, is that my promise is to over deliver value. And if you're not feeling that value, then we shake hands and we go separate ways. It doesn't happen often, but it has happened before. But at the end of the day, I strive to make sure that you feel like I'm bringing something to your team, to your company, and we're making your brand better in some capacity. And otherwise, we're not the right fit. And after a month, it's very easy to look back and see.
So yeah, our paths have crossed many times throughout our careers. So you're doing something right. I must be doing something right, and we've continued. You always got something new going on.
Amazing job too, by the way. I'm watching everything that you're doing, the people you're rubbing shoulders with. So I remember when you were just doing the magazine and finding your way. So congratulations on all your success as well.
I guess we both come a long way, but it's always good. It's always good to catch up with you, Rob.
100%. Thanks for having me, Devin.